Hello humans, Batsy here with another Minecraft video from the SMP. This time around I've decided to finish the town of 𝐋𝐢𝐬. The plan for today is to finish the last 2 buildings in the town and do some terraforming to wrap things up. I want to leave everything ready, so the only projects left are the farms for future episodes. I'm only going to work on the outside of the buildings for now, mainly because I'm currently sick, and partially because I'm super busy between the early game farms, some side projects, and working on the next season of the SMP. So I've decided to make this a more chill episode and focus on the buildings while mentioning a few updates, plans for the next few months, and a giveaway that I will be doing. But enough stalling around, let's get to building. The main idea I have right now is to build a big factory to automate all of the redstone components. There is also the lighthouse for that ledge, and a few more corners over here that I'm not fully sure what I will do about it. What I'm sure is that I want to polish this cliff, probably raise the grass a couple more levels, and I'm going to build a big lighthouse in there. As for the factory goes, this is quite a big area, and it's going to be a pretty big building, but it will retain the scale of the rest. It just will happen to be wider in size. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to make these cliffs and the rest of the terraforming. I think I'm just going to wing it as we move along. Not entirely sure about this road either. I think I'm going to curve it towards the building, and maybe even make some sort of entrance for carriages or something. I'm just gonna get to building stuff and see what happens. There is no point in overthinking it. While I build this, I made a small list of the things I wanted to mention in this episode, starting with the Season 3 updates. I think it will serve as the context for other anecdotes. Season 2 was never meant to happen, or more specifically, Season 2 was meant to be released later on, when 1.20 mods are fully updated, and Create gets enough add-ons for that version of Minecraft. Obviously that never happened, partially because I broke the world of Season 1, and to be fair, that world file was quite corrupted after several updates, so it was a matter of time for that to happen. With all of that, I mean to say that the current Season 2 is meant to be a shorter season, for me to experiment and research about server management, while I work on a better third season that I hope to will last for the entirety of 2024. Season 2 helped me understand about player retention, and the differences between what people think it's important for them, and what things are actually more important for the lifespan of the series. That's why I'm going to revert some of the changes I have done for Season 2, starting with bringing back the rockets and the schematic cannon. The idea behind it was to have a more balanced experience, but that made literally zero difference in the player retention. For Season 3 I'm also going all out with the mods, adding Tom's storage, sophisticated barrels, and sophisticated backpacks, which many of my supporters are going to freak out about, given how against those mods I actually am. What else I have been working on? Oh right, I'm looking for a way to implement some sort of origins into the server, but more well-balanced and personalized. I want people to be able to decide how their character is, within reasonable parameters, like, maybe you want to have a little bit more mining speed, but that means that you're going to have a little bit less reach. Maybe the character can jump half a block more, but then you have less max HP. I want to have both a cap on each parameter so no one can go absurd in one attribute, and also I want the drawbacks, if there are any, to be sensible. I dislike the idea of giving massive positives like having water breathing, but then you now drown inland instead. Or a better example, being able to climb walls, but now you can only eat meat, which is hardly a drawback if we are being honest. The ideal system I want to implement is to have maybe 10 different parameters that people can choose from, and a limited amount of points to assign, meaning that if people choose to max out a couple of them, they give up on the rest, making the choices more meaningful. While the drawbacks will have more to do with the size of the characters and other stuff. This is in very early development stages, so I would really love to hear your opinions and suggestions about it. The last update about Season 3 is that I have been looking to invite a few content creators to join me on the server. Something I would also love to have your help with. So far, I have been looking at small Minecraft streamers, and I might have 2 potential humans who are looking to join. it is hard to find people to even start a dialogue with because Twitch looks incredibly competitive, and most of the time people instantly assume I was trying to promote my own content, even when I just asked if it would be possible to DM for a potential future collab. But that aside, I'm happy I was able to find a couple, and I would love it if you all have YouTube content creators that you like to watch. Maybe comment to them that I'm looking for content creators, and I'm open to having a dialogue with them. Or give me suggestions on who I should ask to join the server. I will try my best to reach out to them. I think I should use some gravel for this corner. Everything can't be diorite. The issue is that I think I don't have any gravel left. Yeah, I don't have any gravel left. It sounds silly, how can I possibly have no gravel? It's mostly because of this world generation, everything is diorite and calcite. This is where my cobble generator is, but you can see that I haven't even set it up, nor any of the farms that will go here, where I should be producing the gravel. See, this is what I meant with everything being diorite. But it's alright, I have stolen some cobblestone from Dam. Anyway, what else is on the list? Right, why I have been so busy lately. Well, all I mentioned so far is mostly the reason why. Between working on the new early game farms, and working on all of those projects, that's taking most of my time. There is also the convention I went to recently, and several medical appointments I had lately, that have been taking quite some time. Something that I have been doing recently is that I changed the way I organize myself. Ever since the first early game farms video, that I have been working with a different schedule, and I'm just planning stuff better than what I was doing. I used to pretty much record for 2 to 3 days straight making as much progress as possible, and then figure out a way to write down a script, synthesize the voice, and then sync it to the video and edit everything up. Now I'm planning in advance what exactly I'm going to put in the video, to record specifically what I need, so I can adapt the video to my voice, instead of adapting the voice to the video. Which has improved a lot the speed at which I can make videos. I'm also trying to put a lot more effort into the editing, especially on the early game farms I have been doing. Editing is the part that I love the most, and spending most of my time there is a lot more enjoyable than spending several days recording stuff. Overall, I'm more busy in the sense that I'm doing a lot more stuff, but also I'm happy about it, and I'm enjoying the process a lot more. I hope the editing effort is appreciated, which so far many people pointed it out in all of my recent guides, so that's amazing. Soon will also be my birthday, which is November 29th. I'm going to make a stream on December 1st to celebrate it, and have some fun playing games with you all. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I have a few ideas on what I want to do, and I've also been working on a program to help me stream. I'm excited about that. Just finished adding the foundation of the factory, and I'm honestly really happy with how things are looking so far. I'm missing to add some details, and especially some greenery around the grass areas. That's going to really tie things together. But looking back at what I have recorded, I think I'm just going to cover the rest with time-lapse. It's going to look a whole lot better for the video. Before building the factory, I thought I would make the lighthouse, just in case I need to tweak some of that terraforming. I was struggling a bit with the size of the base because I wanted to cover the entire cliff, without making the scale too big compared with the rest of the town. I think I ended up with a pretty good shape all things considered, which might not look like a traditional lighthouse, but I kinda like it. And while I work on that, I wanted to mention the recent changes to my voice, and take the chance to answer some of the questions I get often about it. The most common I get is, why? Why use a voice synthesizer? Sadly, I'm going to give an answer that won't please everyone, which is that sometimes life is like that, and you need to make the most of what you have been given. The voice synthesizer is me trying to make the most of what I have. You all are welcome to interpret that as you please, and I'm fine with that. I don't mind people making theories about it, so long as it's respectful, and my privacy is also respected. On a similar note, I have often seen questions about why the female voice, which I think is a valid question and has a more concrete answer. When I started, I wanted the best voice for the videos, and also, I wanted the best voice that would match a bat. I had this idea of the voices they give to animals in cartoons, which is more like a kid's voice, but more towards a higher pitch. The reality is that when I made the first video, the entire catalog of voices I was able to access was literally two single voices. One being male, and the other one female. The male one didn't have the same quality, and it sounded like a big lumberjack, instead of a small bat. So I went for the female voice. Now that I have access to many more voices, and after making many videos for I think almost a year now, I have pulled away from the idea of Batsy being a character I wanted to create, to me showing myself and my personality through Batsy, through my videos. Many of you might not know, but the first series I made was supposed to be more of a roleplay, and Batsy was supposed to be a character. Then I started making create videos as myself, and I'm honestly a lot more comfortable with it. I'm a lot more happy making videos this way. So with a larger catalog of voices, I took the second most advanced voice that was somewhat fitting for me, and it sounded good and energetic for the videos. Because it's important that the videos sound like I'm alive and well, not with a sore throat and about to pass out. That's the voice I have been using up until recently, but now I have a new one, which I have been working on for some time now. This voice is basically the one that I think fits me the best, from all the voices I have used and tested around. But with 2 extra coffees and probably a Red Bull. I'm normally a whole lot more calm and sleepy than how I sound right now, but I like it. I think it's a really nice voice and I hope you all like it too because it felt very personal and awkward to use at first, but it feels nice to be a little bit more myself. The only reason I'm not going for a calmer voice, even though I could, is that I don't want everyone to fall asleep watching my videos and completely nuke my viewer retention. I also think that I should be entertaining, and a voice that sounds like they are about to pass out and will induce everyone into a coma doesn't sound particularly entertaining. So I want to think of this current voice as the best expression of myself, but with several coffees. With the lighthouse done, it's time to wrap things up with fences and some greenery before jumping into the last project, which will be the big factory. That gives us time to answer a couple more questions. Something I have been asked several times is what program I use, if this is an AI voice, and how does it work exactly? First, it's not very accurate to call a synthesizer an AI voice. In any case, it could use an AI model to help compute the voice, which is not the case either. In basic terms, the way a synthesizer works is the following. There is a code and there is already recorded audio for the voice. So you write down a script, and said code takes the audio and generates the script in audio format. Some companies might use an AI model to help make the code, especially some that work with custom models, for example, using your own voice. But not all of them work like that, and it still means that once the code is done, no AI is involved in the process anymore. The distinction is also relevant because once the code is done, that's how the synthesizer is going to compute sentences. If I say a word, for example, I ask, "What is going on here?" Every "what" I say in a question format will have the same tone, unless I manually change the parameters and code it differently. That happens because the synthesizer is hard-coded that way, and there is no AI computing how to pronounce something. Most sites that sell it as an AI voice are simply jumping into the AI trend to get more sales. Of course, that's an oversimplification for the sake of this video not being 2 hours long. We could have an entire debate on what constitutes as AI, and we would likely not have a defined answer by the end of it. Having clarified that, you might still wonder what programs I use, and that's something I have been thinking about for a while now, and I'm a bit undecided on how in-depth I want to go about it. The concern I have with it is that the more in-depth I get, the more questions I'm going to receive, especially technical questions on how to make it work, and troubleshooting all the nuances that comes with it. What I will say is that nearly all text-to-speech services work the exact same way, and many of them share the same voices. I would recommend researching several different services, and simply sticking to the one that gives you the closest thing to the voice you want, and has a decent price that you can afford. It's hard to suggest something more concrete because it changes drastically from one service to the other, some having amazing features but being too expensive for most people. The last thing I wanted to talk about before the giveaway is a little bit about myself. I mentioned before that the first series I made was meant to be a roleplay. That's something I haven't discarded on doing in the future. I would love to make a series that's more lore-based, and where I can make several characters with different voices. That said, my current content as Batsy, that's me. Maybe the details of being a bat and a couple of other things are fictional for entertainment purposes, but this is my personality. Some people might question if I don't show myself, am I still showing the real me? And the answer to that is very simple. By removing my physical limitations from it, I'm more free to express my real self, myself within the physical vessel. Some might say, well, I'm still going to assume you are a girl, I'm still going to assume you are a guy, I'm going to assume you are a brick wall. I don't need a gender or show my physical vessel to make content, but if someone needs to put a gender on me, that's completely fine. I genuinely do not care what pronouns people use on me, or what theories they might have about me. So long as those comments and theories are respectful, and that people understand that no one is entitled to my privacy, then I'm completely fine if people think I'm a kangaroo. This is how things are, and how they are going to be. I cannot convince anyone to watch me, but know that I will continue to express myself in this way, and if I ever change my mind about how I want to make my content, and how I want to express myself, then that will be entirely up to me. And I want to make something very clear. People so far have accepted me for who I am, and most people don't seem to care about my physical vessel, something that I'm incredibly grateful and happy about. I mention this because I wanted to get it out of my chest, even though I merely received a couple of comments from a very vocal but also incredibly small minority. I'm incredibly grateful for having this amazing community, and these amazing viewers. Now for the giveaway. I will be granting access to the server when Season 3 launches, to one of you humans. The way it's going to work is as follows. I'm going to make a fun little challenge on my Discord server, where I'm going to ask everyone to build the same idea, which it has to involve the create mod in some way. Then you all will take that idea and make a build with it in whatever way you want. It can be super scuffed and funny, or it can be incredibly efficient and functional. It won't have a strict point system where you will receive points from certain categories, it will simply have my supporters rating them on a scale of 1 to 10 on their own accord. Basically, it will heavily depend on how liked your build is, not so much on any defined parameters. If you want to participate, and have a chance to get access to the server, don't forget to join my Discord server, and wait for me to launch the event and explain the instructions. More than one person might win if I really like other builds that didn't win. This town is looking amazing, and the new additions really made it look like a real town. I'm incredibly pleased with the end results. But one question still remains, and for those regulars to the channel, you might know what's coming. Does it make for a good cinematic though? Yeah, I think it does for an amazing cinematic, and if you made it this far into the video, means that you are an amazing viewer. I couldn't be more grateful to you. In the next episode, I will be either automating all of the redstone components, filling up the new factories we made, or I will start with the mines, making all of the ores and stone farms. Let me know which one of those ideas would you like to see first, and I will be preparing the episode for that. Thank you so much for watching, take care everyone, and I will see you all next time.